Most coaches and consultants are losing thousands of dollars each month because their sales teams don't know how to properly qualify and book in quality appointments. And if you're a business owner and your sales reps aren't generating you 50 to 100K a month in revenue, this video is going to completely change how you train them and manage them as well. I'm going to show you the advanced psychology and training methods that I have personally used that separate amateur sales teams from professional revenue generating machines. This isn't a basic, teach them scripts and hope for the best video. This is deep level training methodology that, again, I personally use with my clients to help them generate over $2.5 million in the last 6 months. So by the end of this video, you're gonna understand how your team needs to train, how they need to read prospects, identify real buyers, and consistently book in only the best of the best onto your calendar. And if you're ready to stop losing money, fully train sales teams, and start building a revenue generating machine, let's get into it. Before I get into anything, let me start by telling you what's actually wrong with 90% of sales teams that I audit for coaching. Firstly, the business owner thinks that training means giving them scripts and letting them figure it out. Wrong. They measure success by the number of calls booked instead of quality of prospects booked. Again, wrong. They let reps ask random questions without fully understanding the psychology behind qualification. And again, they just let anybody onto the calendar, which is totally just incorrect, right? Your team's job isn't to book as many calls as possible. Their job is really to identify the real buyers within the market and book only those people, right? When you train them to book unqualified prospects, you're not just wasting your closer's time, you're destroying your entire revenue potential because, again, one, your closer's time slots are going to be taken up. You're going to have them get really unhappy with having clients that are not willing to make a change or they're not completely qualified. And third, you are losing out on the hundreds of thousands of prospects that are probably out there waiting to be sold into your product. Advanced training principle number one is teaching psychology, not just scripts, right? Most business owners think that if they just give their team better scripts, they'll book more qualified calls. But scripts are really just words, and psychology is what actually moves people. So I'm gonna give a great example of what I actually teach my team, right? On how to get deeper into psychology and stop following scripts. It's called the 3 stages of desire. You have your level 1, level 2, and level 3 right here, okay? So level 1, let's just say someone says, yeah, man, I wanna make more money. Very surface level, right? You don't know why they want to make more money, what making more money would do for them, etc., etc. So you want to go deeper into that, right? Ask questions like, hey man, like, why do you actually want to make more money? What would making more money do for you? And what that will do is it'll give you the second stage and third stage of desire. Second stage of desire is like, yeah man, I want to make more money and have more freedom, right? Good. You're getting deeper with the prospect. They're telling you their real desire as to why they want to make a change and make more money. But if you can get them to level 3, the chances of them closing are exponentially higher. And what level 3 is? I want to make more money to have more freedom to spend time with my family because I can't right now. That's the person's true desire. They don't just want to make money, right? They want to spend time with their family more because they feel like they're not enough. And that's really the reason why they want to go out and, again, find an opportunity to make more money. The issue I see is a lot of people just stay stuck here. Yeah, man, you want to make more money? Okay, let's book you on to the next call. Yeah, man, you want to make more money for freedom? That's cool, man. Book you on to the next call. And so you're treating every prospect the same, like a generic prospect. You're not really figuring out the real reasons as to why they want to make that change. Because again, maybe what we do can't even help them make that change. So they're not even a good fit that way, right? But maybe we can actually help them. Maybe they need that little extra pushing over the edge to actually get to where they want to go. But we will not know that unless we tap in to that third stage of the desire, right? So you need to train your team to actually recognize the difference. Again, 1 is generic, right? Staying at level 1, very generic, everybody stays the same. But if you can get down to level 2, but ideally level 3, you're gonna actually have true conversations with the prospects. They're gonna actually trust you way more, right? Because you're talking to them about deeper stuff that every other sales rep doesn't take the extra mile to do. And in a sense, by figuring out these real desires, you can almost pre-close them on the setting call. So by the time they actually hop on the closing call, they're there, they're ready to buy, and they're going to be the best prospect they can do. They're going to be there, they can buy, and they're likely going to be the best prospect that you can have on your calendar. Advanced training principle number 2 is to train your sales reps to connect pain points logically. And I think this is where most sales teams lose their prospects, right? They collect information, they fact find, but they actually do not connect the dots for the prospect to help them move forward and make a decision. So within my sales team, this is the exact framework that I use on a broad level so that they can actually identify and connect the dots for them and push them to make that choice. So first things first, you need to figure out the current situation, right? You need to know what the prospect is doing right now, what they've tried before, and why it's not working, right? And then you need to figure out their desired outcome, right? Where do they actually want to be if they were to achieve and get the skills necessary. What are their goals? What does their life want to look like? Let's just say it's a weight loss program. What do they want their body to look like? And then finally, you need to, find the roadblocks, right? Everybody's going to have a roadblock, because again, at the end of the day, if they didn't have a roadblock that was stopping them from getting to where they wanted to go, they would already be there, right? If somebody said, oh, yeah, man, I want to lose weight, and the guy had no roadblocks to getting to lose weight, he would already have lost all the weight, right? There would be no reason for him to hop on the call. And so what you really need to do is connect the current situation, right, to the roadblocks, right? And show them, hey, like, the roadblocks that you're facing right now is what's keeping you within your current situation and is stopping you from getting to your desired outcome, right? I'll give you a great example of this. So if a sales rep, again, let's go back to the weight loss analogy, right? If someone is overweight right now, they want to lose weight, they're not eating well, and their roadblocks are they don't have a gym routine and they don't have someone to hold them accountable, well, that's exactly what's stopping them from achieving their desired outcome, right? Those are the actual points that are stopping them from going, hey, I'm 300 pounds right now and I want to be at 160. Let me get to 160. But at the end of the day, they don't have someone to hold them accountable, and they don't know the actual process to getting there, right? So you need to help your prospects realize that. And it kind of sounds bad, but if they're in a state where they are 300 pounds and they say they've done everything to lose weight, have they really? Right? Because 99.9% of the time, if they really tried everything that they needed to do, they would already be at their desired outcome, right? So questions that you would want to tell your sales rep to ask in this scenario is like, yeah, man, and like, how has being stuck in your current situation really stopped you from getting to where you want to go, right? Or how is, staying stuck at your job stopped you from getting to making 10K a month, right? Figure out the real reasons as to why their current situation is actually holding them back from getting to this desired outcome. Another big mistake that I see a lot of sales teams make is that they stay stuck asking low ROI questions, and they don't focus on questions that are high ROI that actually push the needle throughout the entire call, right? For example, your team should not be asking random questions that really don't push the conversation to the desired outcome that you want, right? Whether it's qualifying them, whether it's getting a pain point from them, or whatever the case may be. So I'll give you an example of what a low ROI question looks like and what a high ROI question in the same context would look like, right? A low ROI question is, do you want to make more money, right? Yes, you're going to figure out maybe the reasons why they want to make more money, why they want to make it, how they're going to make it, whatever. But a higher ROI question is, how much money do you need to be making to actually transition out of your current situation and have more time with your family, right? One, the reason why this hits harder is because it resonates more with the prospect. You're actually tailoring the question to them, right? So it helps you build trust with them, feel like you're actually listening to them, and it's more conversational rather than, just pushing a sales agenda, right? Being too salesy. But two, you're gonna get the real answer by being super specific and guiding them towards the answer, right? Do you want to make more money is so broad, very open-ended, which I'm not saying open-ended questions are bad, but comparatively, tying it directly to their situation on how having more money would help them transition out of their job, that's how they're going to get the actual roadblocks and current situation and desired situation that we talked about before from your prospect, right? If you keep things too broad, they're just going to kind of beat around the bush, and you're not going to push the conversation and figure out what exactly is stopping them from getting to where they want to go, right? Because again, if you ask the same 10 different people, do you want to make more money? They're going to give you the same answer. Yeah, bro, I want to make more money. But if you kind of tailor that towards their specific scenario, how much money do you need to be making to transition out of your current situation? One, they're going to, again, like I said, they're going to give you much, much clearer answers and better answers. But just by tying it back to their situation and what they want to accomplish will allow you to also, kind of ties back into the first point, get to their deeper desires, right? Not just stay surface level with them and go from there. So conversation flow management is one of the biggest things that I see a lot of sales teams doing correctly, right? They jump around randomly between topics, no structure, and then that ends up just confusing the prospect and kills the entire momentum of the sales call, right? So this is the exact funnel that I like to teach to my sales reps on how you should structure your call, right? So it's top of the funnel, this is like the middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and then obviously at the end of this, you book in a call. So at the start of your call, right? So I'm gonna draw an arrow. This is like call time, right? So as you go down right here, the call gets longer and longer, right? So this is the first stage of the call. Intro, build rapport, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Introduce yourself, right? Who you are, get to know the prospect a little bit, build that trust with them. And I think a lot of people overlook this fact, but the number one thing in today's creator economy, you could call it, is trust. If the person you're talking to does not trust you or trust your company, you are not going to sell them into anything, especially a high ticket product that's 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K. So yes, the person you're working with, your agency or the creator, whatever, you guys may have trust, but as a setter, you were the first point of contact as well for the business, right? You're using content to build the trust, build the trust, build the trust. Might as well use the setter to go in, be that first touch point, and build even more within the first 2 to 3 minutes of their convo, right? Because if you're building that trust already on your setting call, the first sales call, they are much more likely to close, right? I've seen this. These setters that kind of help the prospects laugh, get them out of their comfort zone, they're always the ones that collect the most cash when they can also follow it up with these next things I'm talking about. Intro, report building, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Second is fact finding, right? Gather the facts about the person, get to know them a little bit deeper, their motivations. Again, this is where you can find the roadblocks, their current situation, their desired situation, etc., and really just get more facts about them. And in this area is where I see a lot of prospects start to go wrong, right? So you built the trust, intro report, you found the facts, and now they don't gap the prospect correctly, right? So let me draw this bridge, right? They're right here, right? On this bridge, just call it this, right? This is a bridge, right? They are here. This is their current situation. They want to get to here, right? And the further you make this bridge, especially like if you make it long, right? Let's just say they're more likely to buy it. The further and the more you can help them realize that, yo, you are right here and you want to get to right here, but you are so far away from there because of all the actions that you've done within your, whether it's a B2B, whether it's in your company, or was a B2C, like within your life. That's what's actually holding you back from getting the desired outcome. And the further you can make this gap between the current situation and the desired situation, that's what really drives the sale, right? If they actually feel like, yeah, man, like I really don't have my shit together, and I'm not doing everything I can to get myself to the desired situation, that's what's actually going to cause them to buy, right? And a lot of people, they gap incorrectly. They'll start to gap, they'll start to dig deeper, they'll start to be like, yeah, man, like you're here and you want to get here, but then they'll go back into fact finding, right? They'll go back into fact finding, and all the momentum you just build up in the gap, you kill it instantly. All that emotion that's built up, all the thoughts that have been built up, you kill it because you go back to fact finding. So one simple rule of thumb that I like to get, again, all this ties into all the other stuff that I was talking about before, right? So in your fact finding, if you can find out their current situation, the desired situation, and the roadblocks they're facing to a T, then you will never need to go back from gapping back into fact finding back to gapping, and kind of have that loop within your sales call where you really don't build emotion within the prospect and they just kind of fizzle out, right? Then once you have your gap, you hit them with the consequence question, and then boom, at their highest emotional state, when they've actually felt like the gap is the largest, then you go in and book the call. And that's, again, how you can increase your show up rate, when they actually feel that tide to go to the next call and a reason to go to the next call because they know they're here, they want to get to here. That's what actually causes someone to show up. So lastly is teaching advanced qualification. Probably the biggest mistake I see any coach, consultant, agency make is simply qualifying based on money, right? That is the worst thing you can do for your business because you're going to attract the wrong crowd of people, and a whole lot of other things. But these are the 5 kind of principles that we use to make sure that any person that we book onto a closer's calendar has the highest chance of closing, right? Okay. Obviously, one budget, right? They need to be financially qualified to actually afford what you're doing. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. Time is a big one, right? Is this the right time for them to do it, right? And if it's not, for example, they give an excuse. This is where you use a setter to break that limiting belief, right? Reframe that belief. This, people will say, yeah, right now isn't a great time for me to lose weight because, I'm stuck at work, I'm busy with work. But then you can kind of reframe and be like, yeah, man, I mean, if you could just set aside 1 to 2 hours a day to really eat properly and go to the gym with that workout, boom, right? You can reframe their mindset and their belief before they even hop on the closing call, right? That will increase your show up rate. Third, commitment. They actually have to be committed to the program and to making a change, right? So if someone is kind of wishy-washy on that fence, again, you can use your setter to go in and reframe that belief. Hey man, like, why are you not ready to make that change yet? What's kind of holding you back, right? Usually it's going to be some type of fear, not with investing, but taking that leap of faith. And there's a whole lot of other limiting beliefs that they may have that will keep them stuck where they are. So getting that commitment from them, asking a setter to reframe that mindset, reframe their commitment, again, will increase your show up rate a ton, right? Not just qualifying based off of money, right? Because you can go and qualify off money, but you're going to lose a lot of prospects that you could have reframed on time. You could have reframed on commitment. Fourth thing, authority, right? If they're their business partner, whatever, I think this goes to show like pretty self-explanatory, right? If they have other people that need to be on the call with them, make sure you have them on the call. Otherwise, very, very low chance they're going to get closed. Lastly, do they actually need what you're selling to them? This is where I think a lot of people get mistaken, right? You're trying to sell to a mass market, and how much of that market really needs your solution, right? How much, and again, it ties back to, do they have the budget to do it, right? Do they have the time to do it? Do they have the commitment to do it? And they have the authority. And if you can reframe their budget, their time, their commitment, their authority, and make sure all those things are A+, then that to me is a 100% qualified prospect, because that means they need it, right? If they're committed to it, they have the time to do it, they have the budget to do it, and they're the one making the decision, and their commitment to actually make that change, then in my opinion, they need that product, right? Because they know that it can help them go from their current situation to where they actually want to be. All right, so now you're probably wondering, hey, like you just told me all these things to do, but how do I actually implement them and watch them on a daily basis, right? First things first, you want to have all these sales calls recorded from your team for training purposes. Go back, watch them, reach out to them, help them out, right? Second is hold multiple weekly training sessions, focus on one thing at a time. One thing that I noticed with my setters is that when I try to teach them 3 or 4 different topics at one specific time, it went over their head. So what I started to do was focus on fixing one thing at a time, right? Their tonality sucks, okay, fix their tonality. They're not holding frame well on the call, fix that. They're not, gapping them the right way, fix that. And then the next week or the next couple of days, then I'd focus on the next thing, right? Third is to have them, mock, role play, common scenarios using the real prospect. This can be done, with people on the team. But again, I would say, in my opinion, real calls beat everything, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen on real call. Mock calls, yes, they're good. If you have the lead flow to support it specifically, if you have a bunch of old leads that they can practice with, that's what I would do, right? Use those as kind of that role playing technique. Fourth is, again, just track metrics beyond just booking rates. See how many of your prospects are actually qualified, how many of them are closing, your book to close rate, everything like that. And then also the biggest thing is provide ongoing coaching based on their calls, right? You can't just teach them all these things and then expect them to figure out off day one. Provide that one-on-one coaching, take time out of your day to go ahead and do that. Otherwise, they're just going to be stuck making the same mistakes over and over. Maybe they'll get 1% better every 2 weeks instead of 1% better every single day. And so you're probably sitting here and asking me, what is even the ROI of all this, right? What is the ROI of having a properly trained sales team? And just based off the stuff that I was telling you, let me tell you what this will actually do. First of all, your show up rates are going to increase because 1, they're booking more qualified prospects, and 2, a lot of the fears and reasons why a prospect no-shows, right? Fear, this doesn't feel like they can help them, maybe they're not committed enough. All those can be handled on that setting call, right? So your show up rate's going to go higher. Second, your close rates are also going to increase because, again, not only are only real buyers hopping on to your closers' calendars and hopping on calls, but a lot of their issues, their limiting beliefs, reasons why they shouldn't buy have already been pre-handled on the setting call, right? So you're only dealing with the most qualified prospects possible. Your revenue per lead will increase dramatically again because you're only booking in the right people. And then your team's performance will become consistent and predictable. When they can book in, if you have 1,000 leads come through and you can start to see, hey, like 100 of them are going to get booked in, 50 of them are going to close. Now I can start to spend more on ads, knowing this, right? And finally, once you implement it, once you teach them for a few weeks, you can start to scale without having your hands on, right? You don't need to personally manage every conversation. You can host a few group trainings a week after they've learned. And then again, even though it's an upfront time commitment, it's a time commitment that's going to start paying dividends as you can start to remove yourself from training them every single day. If you implement exactly what I just mentioned to you within your own sales teams, I guarantee that your close rates and your show rates will drastically increase. But here's the reality, right? Most business owners are going to watch this video, think that's interesting, and then go back to doing what they were doing before, which was losing them thousands of dollars each day. The business owners that actually go ahead and implement this and work with their teams to fix these issues are going to see drastic results, right? They're the ones who are actually generating $2.5 million in revenue and not struggling month after month. Right? And that really is the difference between a business that's doing 30K a month and a business that's doing 100K a month, right? It's not better leads or more spending more on ads, optimizing and selling the people that you already have within your pipeline, right? So if you want help implementing these systems within your sales team and you're ready to get serious about systematic revenue growth, I work with coaches, consultants, and agencies to build out complete sales systems and sales teams to increase your revenue month over month. So click that first link in the description to book a strategy call where we'll audit your current sales process and show you exactly how to train your team for consistent revenue generation. And this is for you, right? If you're tired of inconsistent team performances, low quality bookings, and revenue that depends on hoping your team figures something out and you not knowing what's going on, right? Again, click the link below, book in the call, and let's figure out where we can go and help fix your sales process. And thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more training content, and I'll see you in the next video.